Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Isha if you're new here, and if you are new here, I hope you stick around and subscribe for new videos from me. In today's video, we are going to be discussing all of the books that I read in 2025. I have my Goodreads. I'll have a link down below as always, and I'll have it on the screen right now. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new here, and let's jump right in to this new bookish video. Trying to do like all my beginning of the year bookish content, and then we're gonna go back into our vlog. Y'all know I love the vlog. I love the vlog. I love the yap. Yes, I do. So I have some of the books here. I read some on my Kindle. I have some audio. We're gonna start with The Mountain Is You. This is a reread. I recommend if you like self-help books, if you like books that help you just better yourself. Promise Me Sunshine. What is this lighting? Girl. Okay, was Promise Me Sunshine. I absolutely love this book. I have talked about it enough. I'm not gonna rant about it again, but sometimes yes, if you like books that talk about mental health, grief, friends to lovers, that type of vibe, this will be the perfect book for you to read. The next one is Funny Story. I do not know where I put Funny Story, but Funny Story is following two people that have just gotten broken up with, and they end up moving in together, and they start fake dating. They're also roommates. They're also going through the breakup, and they also become friends. So it's like a friends to lovers fake dating. Emily Henry is that girl. So of course I rated 4.5 stars. I rated it twice, so obviously I like it. The next one is Rhythm Blue. This one is a little messy, but I love me a little mess. Her boyfriend was a rapper. She ends up breaking up with him. She also moved to the location she was living in just for him. So it was like their lives are like really intertwined together. They end up breaking up, and then she ends up getting with someone else, well, who is connected to her ex, without them both knowing that they were all kind of intertwined and connected. I love when the male MC don't play about the female MC, okay? I love when they don't play about each other, and he definitely didn't play about her. Happy Medium is following a girl who was lying online about seeing ghosts, and then she ends up being able to actually see a ghost, and then she ends up actually seeing a ghost and actually communicating with the ghost. She got hired on to communicate with the ghost to get rid of that ghost so that the owner of the house that the ghost is haunting can sell a house. The next one is The Kiss Countdown. Strangers to fake dating to lovers. Basically, Henry is a event planner, and she's trying to start her own event business. She ends up needing Vincent to help her fake date because her ex and her like bumped into each other, blah blah blah. They start fake dating. Vincent needs her to help his family get off his back basically when it comes to his life decisions. So she's just like the great distraction. The Partner Plot. I love this book. I recommend it. It's the second book in the Green Sister series. It's all on Violet. What is his name? Can't remember his name. And Xavier. Violet and Xavier, they were high school sweethearts. They ended up breaking up, and then they end up having a fake date later on in life. He is a personal stylist, and he is a high school basketball coach. Cute, small towny vibes. Also kind of like big city vibes as well. Get the second chance romance vibes. The key word of this video is vibes. The next one is A Legend in Baking. This one, I liked it. Wasn't obsessed with it. I don't know if I did a read and wrap up, and I talked about this book before. Best Friend's Little Sister romance. It's following Sloan in August. Basically, Sloan is trying to start her own social media agency. August and Sloan's brother owns a bake shop, and she ends up becoming the social media manager. And it could be a second chance romance, but they were more friends, so it's like a friends to lovers. Unfinished Business. I don't want to spoil it because you have to read the first one to understand the second one. It's following Gabby and Terrence. Gabby just became a lawyer, and she's working at her uncle's law firm, and Terrence is who she is apprenticing under. So it's like a forbidden romance, office romance. But the second one is them after they're broken up and they're still in each other's lives. Basically, he's trying to win her back. Both of the books are short and they're enjoyable. I read One Week in Paradise, which is a fake dating romance. Best Friend's Little Sister. They're on vacation for 1 week. They're fake dating because she is an influencer. She's had like a bad icky situation with her public persona. She gets invited to go on a brand trip. It was also kind of like unrequited love. He's always had a crush on her, but you know the vibe. In the Weeds, I have this one. Okay, In the Weeds is following Evie and Beckett. Evie's a social media influencer as well. They hooked up one time, and basically she ghosted him. Then she ended up working on the Love Light Farm, which is the first book in the series. I'll probably have it on the screen. She's trying to basically find herself again. The tension's still there, the vibes are still there. Small town romance, cute. I recommend it. The next one is The Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf. This one was a fun time. Accidentally gave a werewolf a love potion. The werewolf is in love with her. But also they're mates, so she's trying to reverse the spell, and then they get in this sticky situation. Every one of these books, they kind of get in like sticky situations, and it's always comical and cute. I love them. The next one is Mixed Signal. Friends to lovers type of vibe. A little bit of fake dating lesson in there. Both Lila and Caleb have had bad dating situations, just bad bad dates, and they're going to be coaching each other and going on dates together to figure out what to do better on dates. The next one is all about love. Basically what the title says, it's a book talking about all forms of love, the meaning behind true love. The next one is Captured by the Highlander, and this one is following Amelia, I think that's how you say her name, and Duncan. Basically she gets kidnapped by him and then they end up falling in love. That's basically what happens. I recommend it. The Love Risk, it's a novella. I would recommend it. It is following Charlotte and Seth. Read the trigger warning. She has a stalker and she's basically been on the run. Seth is her next door neighbor. The Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I love this book. I think I rated it 4.5 stars or 4.25. It's a found family book. It's following one witch and she's tutoring 3 girl witches, and she's living in a house with the girl caretakers as well, and she's basically just training the girls on how to control their magic. People were saying it's a grumpy sunshine. I think it's more of a normal girl grumpy man, kind of a grumpy girl. I adored it. So I recommend To Marry the Duke. I really don't remember what this book was about. If I remember correctly, she's an American heiress. He's a dude in debt. I think his father got them into really bad debt. It was either his father or his brother, I can't remember, and he's now the duke. They marry her off to him. It's like a marriage contract. So the next one is The Good Part. Lucy, in her like mid-20s, she's going through it. She's at a job where she hasn't progressed in her career and she's just tired of life, so she just wishes to go to the good part in life. She ends up getting put into like 20 years in the future. She's married, she has kids, and she's at the good part of life. She doesn't remember anything that happened to get her to where she's at currently in her life. So the whole book, she's trying to get back to where she was. She transported herself at the ripe age of like 42. 4 weekends and a funeral. I think I read this one 3.75. So on Allison and Adam. Allison's ex-boyfriend passed. She ends up popping up at his funeral to say her condolences. No one knows that they break up. Now she has to pretend that she is the grieving girlfriend of Sam, which I mean she probably is grieving, but she's no longer the girlfriend. He broke up with her. She ends up having like an attraction to his brother. It's just like a whole mess. Okay, I read Not Just Any Earl. I don't remember a lick of this book, so obviously it wasn't that good. An Unexpected Kiss in a Public Scandal. Yeah, I don't remember that. I said I don't remember, but if I remember it correctly, they end up having to like get engaged, but I think he just didn't want to get engaged. I think he's a rape. I think that's what it was, but don't hold me on that because I really don't remember, if I'm being honest. Now the next one is Someone Else's Shoes. 4.5 stars. I love this book. Someone Else's Shoes is following 2 women and the 2 women's lives and like the chaotic lives that they live. So Sam and Nisha go to the same gym. Their gym bags get swapped and they end up having each other's gym bags. Nisha is going through a divorce to a very rich man, and the beginning of the book starts off chaotic and you're just like, who is this guy? Yeah. Then Sam is married and she is the sole provider for her family because her husband is depressed. So she's going through it because she's a sole provider, and it's basically just following their story of like how they are dealing with it, and they end up meeting. Forbidden is following Renee. I cannot pronounce that name right now, sorry. And Eddie. This is a historical romance. So he's passing as white. He's built successful businesses and he's basically like that guy in town, okay? And he stumbles upon Eddie because she ends up getting into trouble on her travels. He ends up seeing her on the side of the road in the desert, picks her up, takes her to his mother. Is it his mother? I believe it's his mother. It's not his mother. It's someone that he looks at his mother. I don't think it's his mother. I can't remember. But he takes her to somewhere where she's gonna be safe. It's a forbidden romance because he's white passing, so he's a white man in the eyes of the public and she is a black woman. That's basically that. The next one is The Love Lyric. This is following the 3rd green sister, which is the eldest sister, Iris and Angel. Iris and Angel are working together, and Angel has had a crush on Iris for a really long time. It's also a single mother trope. My favorite one is probably still The Neighbor Favor and The Partner Plot. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't obsessed with it. When You're Ready, This Is How You Heal. This book is just discussing the healing and the process that you go through when you're healing. I'm trying to get through this because I need to go make my wings because I'm hungry. Next one is Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. A Therapist, Her Therapist, and Our Lives Revealed. This is basically just a book following a therapist, her patient, her therapist, and basically all the stages of life. The next one is Indigo. Absolutely loved Indigo. This is following Gallant and Hester. Basically, Gallant and Hester, they both work helping the underground program. Hester ends up at the beginning of the book nursing Gallant back to health, and he falls in love with her. He basically is like, this has to be my life. Destiny's Embrace. This one's following Logan and Maria. Basically, Maria gets hired on to be Logan's housekeeper. She's younger than he expected her to be. Has always been like a pushover her whole life. Her mom was was like really mean to her, like abusively mean to her. It had some funny parts in it. 1+1. So 1+1 is following Jess and Ed. Ed got into some legal trouble. Jess is trying to raise her kids, give them the best opportunity possible together. They end up going on a road trip together to get her daughter to a competition. So it's just following along their whole journey, the ups and downs of life, adulthood, going through being a sole parent and financial struggles and all the mess. Vivid. So this one is following a female doctor. So sort of running it. So it's based back in the day, following Nate and Vivi. Nate basically, yeah, he's the mayor, isn't he? He like runs the whole town. So Nate runs the whole town. He hires Vivi. Everyone's kind of like cautious because she's a female doctor, and they're like, what is this lady doing here? This is a man dominated field. At first they start to like her, and then the doctor ends up falling for her, you know, the vibe. And he's a single parent to 2 little girls. Adorable. The next one is Good Material. This one was different from what I normally read. Following Andy, and Andy and his longtime girlfriend just broke up. She broke up with him, and he's basically going through the breakup throughout the whole entire book. He's also a failing stand-up comedian. He's basically going through all the emotions of a breakup, male perspective. What You Wish For is the next book, and it's following Samantha and Duncan. So Samantha is a librarian at the school. Duncan is a new principal, and he comes to the school a lot of strict rules. He's taken over from a beloved principal that everyone loved, and basically she's trying to fight against all the rules that he's setting in place. Knew each other from a different school they worked at previously. The school that she's a librarian at is very carefree, open, just very fun, bubbly. The next one is Lost and Lassoed. I recommend this book 1,000 times. I think I rated this one 4.5 stars. This one's following Teddy Anderson and Gus Ryder. And Gus and Teddy have not gone along for years. She is his baby sister's best friend, and she has been an bad influence on Clementine, and he just didn't like her. Right. Then he ends up needing a nanny during the summer. Teddy ends up being free during the summer. She ends up becoming his nanny, and she's an in-house nanny. Okay? And the forced proximity, the tension is firing away. It's something about Spitfire heroine and a grumpy man. The next one is The Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett. All the tips that he's learned throughout the years of how to be a good CEO, business person in general. The next one is Nighthawk. So this one is following Ian and Maggie. So Maggie has been on the run for like years, and Ian is like an undercover guy that like takes back wanted people, and he's supposed to be taking Maggie back so she can get arrested and go to prison and blah 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 blah. Somehow along the way their attractions there, they're fighting their attraction. And the next one is, so the spell shop is following Keela. Her town that she was living in went up into flames, the empire burnt down, and she's a librarian. Did I say that? I don't know if I said that. She captures all the books with all the spells and everything like that, moves away and goes to her town that she grew up in that her parents still has a house at. So she ends up starting a spell shop. Grumpy fisherman, they knew each other through childhood. By the way, magic is indeed banned, so she's running like an illegal spell shop. The next one is The Life That's Waiting. Is basically just talking about what's waiting on the other side of you overcoming what's standing in your way. The next one is Half a Soul. Okay, so Half a Soul is following Ellis. It's on Dora and Ellis. Dora got cursed and she only has half a soul, so she doesn't really feel emotions the way a normal person would. And Ellis is a high sorcerer, like he's one of the highest sorcerers in the world. Dora and him end up partnering together, and she hopes within helping Ellis that he can help her get her other half of her soul. So that, lovers and friends, you probably have seen me talk about this book multiple times. I love this book. This book is following Malcolm and Joe. Joe was in love with her best friend Ezra for years. She has finally come to terms with her unrequited love. She decides she's gonna go out and start dating, and the first person that she like bumps into is Malcolm. They bump into each other at a party. This all happens at the beginning of the book, so it's like not spoiler. They bump into each other at a party. They kind of hit it off as friends. Actually really likes her and is like, no, like I actually want to date you. So it touched on mental health. He's also a romance writer, and she is a social media influencer, but she's a doctor. She uses her doctor degree to give medical advice online and stuff like that. The next one is The Undermining of Heart and Mercy. This is an enemies to lovers. Like he killed basically zombies that are people's appendices. She's the Undertaker and he's the Slayer. They don't get along. They haven't got along for a really long time. He's like a grumpy demigod. She is more of a sunshiny person, but she has her fiery side when it comes to him. The next one is Better Luck Next Time. So this one is following Mona and Duncan. Mona and Duncan used to be best friends, and their families are like still intertwined. They end up having a carpool together to go to Christmas at their family house. Stuck in a time warp, beggar of still. This one's following Emily and Jack. They are next door neighbors, nemesis, and colleagues. Emily is the oldest sister, and she's also the caretaker type A person, and Jack is a beloved man in the small town and everyone loves him. The next one is The Bone King and the Darling, following a super strong king of a land and a peasant. He's hurt. Basically the god spoke to him, but that is his wife that he's supposed to marry. The whole book spicy. It had a plot, but the main plot for me was the spice. The Undermining of Twyla and Frank. This is following two people near retirement. They're best friends, and they've been best friends for years. They've been fighting their attraction for years. They're also next door neighbors. They said when Harry met Sally, both would dragon. Next one, the time I got drunk and saved a human. This is when a girl was basically held captive by a dragon, and then another dragon saves her, and then he saves her because that's his mate, and she's like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not being kidnapped and held captive again. The next one is Unlucky You. It's following Gran and Sanaya. I love this book. So Gran, he was locked up for a very valid reason for me, but you know, Sanaya is a photographer. He's also like an illegal boxer, right? So she ends up getting hired to photograph the boxing match that Gran is boxing at. The attraction's there, but he's not trying to get into a relationship or fall for anyone. He's trying to get his life together so he can get his son back at full custody. The Things We Water, a cozy small town fantasy romance. It's one with Nina and her magical puppy and Henry. So Nina ends up moving into Henry's small town. He is a protector of that said small town. A slow burn romance where Nina is trying to adjust to life, and she also has to marry someone to stay in the small town. That's basically it. The next one is I Accidentally Summoned a Demon Boyfriend. This one was fun and entertaining. Hey, my throat's turning her. I've been talking for a long time. She ends up summoning her demon boyfriend because she is tired of the dating pool, and then they end up being bonded together, and the whole time they're like fighting against each other, fighting the attraction. Other people end up getting involved, and it's like a dangerous fun time. Chasing Ebony is a shifter romance. Basically, Ebony is a school teacher. She also roommates with this girl that is like very much so not for the shifters at all. The shifters are very like common knowledge in the book. Her roommate is like so against shifters, and everyone that her roommate is associated with is so against shifters. Tristan smells her scent and is like, my mate's here. So he finds her. A lot of drama starts happening because she's in a bar with people that don't like shifters or shifter mates, and she is a mate of a shifter. That's how the book starts. The next one is Tame and Kane, and this one is following Kane. I cannot remember the girl. Her roommate's boyfriend was very abusive, weird towards her, and she ends up running away. And when she runs away, someone who can smell like mate scents smelt her, and then she ends up bumping into Kane. That's how that goes down. These are shifter romances, by the way. I enjoyed all of the ones I've read. The next one is Homebound. I rated this one 4 stars, but really I should have rated it like a 3. Small town romance, ex-best friends, single dad romance as well, and they're also living together, so it's proximity. She is a bull rider and he is a professional hockey player. I don't really have much to say about that. The next one is Yours Truly. I rated 6 stars. So this one is following Brianna and Jacob. I think they're doctors at the same hospital. They get off on the wrong foot. They end up fake dating. I absolutely loved it. It's a friends to lovers as well. Jacob struggles with anxiety, so you get to see the representation of that in this book. 2, The Undercutting of Rosie and Adam. This is the last book in the trilogy. Adam created this whole system to keep their town, I can't remember that, it's like tyranny, I think that might be the town's name, but I'm not absolutely certain, to keep this town safe. The system ends up breaking, and since the system is broken, Adam and Rosie get stuck in the mist, taken to Varaxia. Varaxia is a paranormal sci-fi romance. The aliens have been coming to her town for a while, but bad vibes, and the leader of one of the alien countries finally comes down, and he like discovers that what they've been doing for literally years is that a word? And he sees his mate out in the crowd, and then she ends up having to go with him, but she's standoffish because of what her people have endured from aliens in the past. I like it. Next one is When Javi Dumped Marie. So this book is going from past and present, and is following 2 college best friends that have been in the friend zone with each other for years, and she ends up getting engaged. The pact that they made back in college was that they would vet each other's partners. He hasn't vetted the new guy, and they're in love with each other. Javi is also Marie's best bride man, is that what it's called? I think so. So he's trying to basically get her to break off the wedding. I liked it, but I didn't love it as much as I don't really like her book. I read it from finish. I'm not gonna go into detail about that one. The author kind of rubbed me the wrong way recently. So the next one is Again. I adore this novella. It's following a divorced couple, basically them finding their way back to each other. Siblings, her sister and his brother are married, and they're at the destination wedding spot together. If you give a single dad a nanny, I didn't really like this one, but it's a nanny romance. It's a nanny romance. They're next door neighbors. She's like the quirky girl next door, and he's the grumpy dad, and she ends up being a nanny for the daughter because his nanny ended up quitting. The next one is Hear My Heart. On Rome and Nakara. Nakara is engaged to Rome's brother, and I do not like Rome's brother. This book does have a cheating trope in it, but girl, anyway, her falling for the brother really was not that bad of a thing for me, if I'm being honest. The nanny is off limits. This is a nanny romance, also like a big age gap. I think it's maybe like 15 years. He's a single dad. She ends up nannying for his 3 kids. That's that one. The Last Minute First Lady is following Jolie and Castian. So basically she is a reporter and he's running for mayor, and she ends up fake dating him in order for him to get elected as mayor, and she wants to get a break in her story. Greek mythology is just following basically the myths in like Greek mythology. The next one is Collide. It was kind of like an enemy celebrity at the beginning, but then they become friends. They ended up working together on her psychology paper. I actually really like this one. I rated it, I think, 4.5 stars. 4.25. And he falls first. The next one is Fated to Fall. This one is a enemy lovers. They end up in like a marriage of convenience type of situation, and they end up being fated together by accident, trying to figure out how to unbond their fate. The next one is First Time Caller, a single mom romance. Her daughter ends up calling into Aiden's radio show. Then she ends up becoming like a main segment on said radio show to help her find love, and her love is sitting right next to her. Right, this one 3.75. Also, I really love the family dynamic in this book, and I enjoyed seeing their blended family. The next one is Ignited. Well, Ignite. I rated this one 4 stars, but really it's like a 3-star read for me. It's a single dad romance. Next door neighbor, she's also like the carefree, quirky next door neighbor. That age gap romance. He's a grumpy fireman next door. The ex-hex is cute. She basically put a hex on her ex, and they end up working together to try to reverse his hex, but they're also exes, and her great big love that she's had when she was 19, so they're kind of going through all the emotions while working together. The next one is The Enchanted Greenhouse. This one was slow paced, but basically, yeah, it's basically following Tara Lou, who got turned into stone for using magic. And then she ends up at this abandoned place with a whole bunch of greenhouses with a grumpy house gardener, and she's trying to help him cast spells to get the greenhouses to come to life, because they're all enchanted and they're all magical and they're all dying. The next one is When I Think of You. This is a Hollywood romance. This is a second chance romance, and it's following Kalia and Danny. They end up working together on Danny's new movie. It is a forbidden romance. She's an assistant to one of the big investors, and he basically gets her to work on the project with him. He's also in a relationship at the beginning of the book too, so I enjoyed it. It made me cry, but I liked it a lot. I rated that one 2.75. The next one is The Devil of the Highlanders. This one's a marriage of convenience. She ends up getting married off to like the devil of the Highlanders that everyone's like feared. It ends up being like a sweet man towards her, and I like that one. The next one is Spiral, which is a fake dating romance. I have the book. Girl, why do I look like this? Okay, so I ran out of story, and then I just didn't talk about Spiral at all. But Spiral is a fake dating romance, and it is following a hockey player and a ballerina. They're fake dating to help her get more public recognition so that she can audition for a big ballet, and to help his reputation, because he has a Playboy reputation and he's trying to just focus on hockey. He's a rookie and he's having a bad rookie year. That's basically this book. Yes, I loved it, and it does have family vibes and tropes in there as well. So okay. Too late now. So Monday's not coming. I would read the trigger warning for this one. This one made me cry. I'm not really gonna go into too much detail. It's supposed to be a YA book, but it's really heavy for a YA. YA is young adult, so is it? The next one, our girl Kennedy Ryan did it again with Can't Get Enough. This one's following Hendrix and Maverick. Hendrix is the rich auntie of the group, and Maverick is a tech mogul. Good spirit. I recommended it. I think I rated 4 stars. It's good for a holiday romance. It's following a ghost and Harriet, the sweet people pleaser, and the ghost of Christmas past. The next one is a book that I might begin a tattoo for. I'm thinking about it. And I think I've decided. Heated Rivalry. If you haven't known, if you haven't heard, you've been living under a rock. This is one of the best romances I've read all year. I love them so bad. Forever and ever in my heart and in my soul. I love them. I need to read The Long Game, but this is a hockey romance, and they are rivals. Basically, this book is following their situationship for like a decade, you guys. And I bought the audio version so I can listen to it. You know, I only do that for certain books. If I love a book so much, after I read it and I buy the audio, that's how you know it's real, because I want them with me every single day. Overconsumption at its finest. Final boss, me. Okay, Only for the Holidays is a cute holiday romance. I really liked it. I read a book last year, Love in Wonderland. I read Love in Wonderland last winter, and then I read this one this winter. I liked it. It was a cute small town romance. Okay, the next one is Love and Sports Ball. This is a WW WW. And it's following a physical therapist and one of the head athletes. She plays in the NBA. Khadijah is an athletic trainer for an NBA team. Shay plays on said NBA team. So Khadijah does not want to get involved with a player on the team. She doesn't want to make business for pleasure. You know what I mean? But they've been finding interaction and one thing leads to another and they hook up. It's a very spicy book. I recommend. Chabon, chabon, chabon. This one's a 4.5-star read for me. I read this recently and I absolutely ate it up. Erin and Trapone. Erin been the sole caretaker of her little brother and she has gone through a lot in life. Read that you're going to read in this book. And Trapone is basically like head boss in charge, okay? Like he's a businessman and he's a businessman with a lot of money and he likes taking care of his people, and Erin is not one of his people and I love it. Throughout the whole beat of the book he was saying my wife, my wife, my wife in his head and then out loud. And personally I love that. I love when a man knows what he wants. Trapone knows exactly what he wanted and that was Erin. Is Reggie and Delilah's Year Falling. I think I started it in May. I didn't finish it until I was getting on my Zoom to try to reach where I didn't go. And it's basically following Delilah and Reggie throughout all the holidays together. It's a YA romance. It's really cutesy. Delilah's in a band and Reggie is like this cute little nerd. And every single holiday they kept bumping into each other and then they started becoming friends and intentionally bumping into each other. I really liked it. It was adorable. Claiming Gabriel. This one's following Gabriel, who is the alpha of the pack, and Olivia. So yeah, that's basically that. I don't really have anything to say about it. 4 stars. Spicy Little Curses. I rated this 3 stars. I rated it during like the Halloween time and it's following this man who's cursed and whoever he falls in love with or falls in love with him dies. They're trying to figure out how to like cure the curse because apparently she fell in love with him or she's about to fall in love with him. Her time is ticking. Is that a spoiler? Because I didn't find that out until halfway. Anyway, it might have been a spoiler. I fear. I'm sorry for that. The last one is Emma. I'll listen to the audio version of this. It's the adaptation to the book by Jane Austen. I just realized that none of these were in order because it was in order to how put it in there. So to date, but it wasn't in order to when I read them. And that is that. And those are all the books that I read in 2025. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next week in my next video. We're not missing the upload. We're trying not to miss the upload this year. Okay, bye.